Everybody, welcome to another edition of Quarter Up, the weekly gaming news and argument roundup. My name is Adrock, and I'm leading the charge this week, or Doc, as you see on our Twitch stream.
Because Krug hasn't fixed it yet.
Oh, God, I'll fix it. God.
Come on with the times there, buddy. Speaking of which, this week we are joined by, again, our lovely panel of hosts, Krug.
I want you to know, you just about said a lovely panel of hookups.
That actually didn't cross my mind, but I should have now.
Crossed my mind. Hi, my name's Krug. I'm still Krug, and I'm always going to be Krug. I'm never going to change my name to Ad Krug or whatever the fucking dumb shit.
Maybe minus Krug.
How do you spell Adrock? A-D-R-O-C-K?
Did you never listen to the Beastie Boys?
Adrock? Question mark?
I
think. Question mark.
Anyway. And Indigo.
Hey, guys, I'm not going to make a big speech.
I'm going to take a sip.
All right, so yeah, we're here today to talk to you about all the gaming news that's come out in the past 2 weeks since we weren't here last week. I want to make a quick announcement before we start, which is for those of you who listen to us as an audio podcast, for those of you that don't know, we're available as an audio podcast. We're now available on Google Play Music. If you use an Android phone, you want to listen to us on Google Play Music, you can get to us by searching for /Yell or Quarter Up in Google Play Music, and we'll come up as a podcast, and it's really cool.
Which is great, because I don't have iTunes anymore.
Yeah, neither do I.
Other like podcast stuff.
Yeah, I use third-party stuff, which like aggregates from other places, but yeah.
Yeah, now you can
nice
get this from the mouth of the horse that bit you. I don't know, whatever.
Anyway,
let's talk about news.
Let's go right into it. Okay, cool. So first and foremost, to kick us off, we're gonna talk about Blizzard, as apparently we got a giant Blizzard hard on in this whole.
Hey, yeah.
That was confusing.
So PC Gamer put out an article this week talking to Jeff Kaplan, the director for Overwatch, and their kind of development cycle from going from Project Titan to Overwatch. And it was interesting because of the psychological impact that the Titan team had in the community of Blizzard, which everyone knows that Blizzard has this high watermark when it comes to games, when it comes to quality of games, when it comes to interactivity with games. And Project Titan was supposed to be a huge project, and yet they seem to kind of feel like they were, for lack of a better phrase, the redheaded stepchild. It just wasn't up to snuff.
Well, and it wasn't due to pressure from Blizzard themselves. It was pressure from the team. So the team themselves felt this huge pressure because Blizzard is such a company that's known to put stuff out when it is ready. And
it's a polished company. They don't
exactly. You know, they're not. They're not known to put stuff half-assed, without
Which also frustrates a lot of gamers when they literally say it's coming out soon.
Yeah. And so, and again, you can have your own personal gripes with Blizzard, and maybe you weren't the happiest with Warlords of Draenor. Everyone that bought it.
Yeah, for $10, it's $10 well spent.
Sure, I'll give you that. But so the internal team that was working on Titan basically said, look, like they were putting so much pressure on themselves, and not like, hey, we really got to make this game, but it was just the environment that they put themselves in, and that's kind of why they canned Titan. You know, a while ago when it first got canned, they didn't talk about it. They were just like, it just wasn't up to par.
They literally swept it under the rug.
Yeah, exactly. And then now that Overwatch is about to come out, and we know that the majority of the Titan team came over to do Overwatch, and a lot of the assets that were used in
they were saying, like, there's a rumor within gaming circles that part of the PvP in Overwatch stemmed from a version of it from Titan.
Yeah.
And that the world of Overwatch potentially could have been the world of Titan.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, again, that part's all speculation. But they basically said that the reason why we shit canned it was because we couldn't make the game as good as we felt it could have been made.
Essentially, they weren't proud of it. They didn't want to like run down to the bar and tell everybody, look what I made, and flop their gaming dick on the table. Like that's kind of like their standard internally.
You know, they like to slip it in.
That's their culture.
Like Hearthstone, and push a drink over to you and say, "Here, have a drink."
Hearthstone was not slipped in gently at all. Hearthstone was, never mind. I'm not going to continue this analogy. It's super nasty, super quick. But yeah, we thought that was interesting that they came out and talked about it like that. That's the part I found interesting the most, was the fact that they came out and said, like, oh yeah, we fucked that one up hard. Like, oh, okay. That was refreshing.
Kind of nice and transparent like that in some cases.
Right. And obviously,
after the fact.
it's a boon to the press. They're getting, Overwatch in the news really close to its launch and stuff like that. But, it was adorable.
So off from Blizzard onto something that I have
Will make you feel
zero emotional attachment to. It's like whatever to me. Okay.
So you're soulless and heartless.
Yes. So a while back we reported. I don't know. I believe we reported on this on Quarter Up about a kid that had actually found an old Xbox.
It's more of an old internet ghost story.
Yeah. And so a kid found an old Xbox where it was a racing game, and
It was his old Xbox.
Yeah, it was his father's old Xbox.
Yeah.
And so, and when his father played it, he had the best time. And when he turned around and played the game, it had a ghost car for the fastest time, and it was his connection to his father because that was his father racing, and he used that as a motivation to keep playing and playing and playing and playing until he could finally beat his dad. But because it was still his like last remembrance of his father, even though he had beat him, he stopped right before the finish line to let him beat him so he can keep playing with his dad.
Commence the Oz.
And I don't care about this.
I was gonna say,
No, it's sweet. So
the car and go, ha! Suck it, old man.
Yeah,
Let's
right?
watch the last little bit. Just
you guys are horrible. First of all, the story is based around the fact that his father passed away,
Yeah.
and he like dug up the Xbox after like 10 years and started playing it again. So that part is, I don't understand how you're not emotionally attached to the story already. Second of all, it's a video now. That's the whole point of it being in here. Somebody made a like reenactment of that essentially story.
they hit the right buttons. Really.
Yeah, the video is really well produced, and it's it's like if you have a soul, if you have a heart, and you're not Indigo or Dahk, you're going to love the video.
Where did I get dragged into
I'm
this?
sorry, I thought you said that you
I was
weren't
doing it for
emotionally
humor's
attached.
sake.
I thought you were agreeing with him.
I'm a
Anyways,
horrible person.
Indigo.
No, okay. So
if you're not Indigo,
this is why I don't think it's sweet and kind-hearted. He's not letting his father go.
well, this is
this
too
is
deep
gonna-
for the show.
Are we,
Boom.
we're gonna get the territory that's
See,
This is
beyond
too
me.
deep for
if
the
he was
show.
really, if he really, when he defeated his dad, it would be
would-
the last
would absorb
remembrance
his
of
soul
his
and become stronger than ever before.
Because there can only be one.
I'm gonna take a sip out of that. I need my straw though.
If you can't, if for those people listening to the audio podcast, both Dark and I subscribe to Loot Crate. Again, they don't sponsor us, but if
And
they
we're
wanted
lazy
to,
motherfuckers.
I
Yeah.
would tell them no. And so we're actually wearing our little Game of Thrones horn.
Vikings.
Viking. Is it Vikings
Yeah.
or is it Game of Thrones? I don't know.
So have you seen Vikings? Vikings is amazing. Why are we shilling for Loot Crate? We have a show to do.
All right, sorry. So, anyways, so that I don't know. That's my bit. I don't.
It was a really nice little short that's from the internet folklore tale Campfire. The same with like Slenderman and everything else. It was a nice little thing to see, so it's kind of cool. If you get a chance, please watch it. If you like that kind of stuff, it's really well done.
If you want to cry or like have some sort of emotional attachment to something other than your self pity of a life, go watch it.
Damn, someone's got some issues.
Let's move on to
Should we-
something that's less like sad when you guys talk about
Let's
it.
get something
Hearthstone
that's like
nerfs.
aggravating, like Hearthstone nerfs. Okay,
Hearthstone nerfs.
Okay, so
Finally.
Hearthstone came out and said, "Hey, we're going to be making some changes to the card." If you guys didn't know, Tuesday, Whispers of the Old God, their new expansion for the game. Let me try that. New card expansion. You right there? You got a fly in
Yeah,
it?
there is a fly. Keep going. You don't need to point it out. Just keep going.
So
It's like a
their
bird
new
bed.
expansion of Whispers of the Old God is coming out on Tuesday. And so pre-release of that, they've actually decided that they're going to nerf some cards along with that. I saw this, and I want that to happen even before
Whispers of the Old Gods.
Whispers of the Old God,
Yeah.
because I honestly love all of these changes. And like the article that we linked to from PCGamer.com is like, playable or not, oh god, these cards are gonna be basically useless. It's like, no, they're still good cards. They're just not stupid OP
Well,
anymore.
it's an odd format because everyone's used to the CCG or TCG format where it was never really nerfs. It was reiterations of a card that's been phased out. So that's technically how they patched it. It's how they hotfixed it.
Mhm.
Now that we're in now that we have a digital age, you're able to address those more directly instead of having
Yep.
to wait 4, 5, 6 months.
Well, and there's
hope it's from a deck that gets phased out.
Did Crew get the fly? No, he didn't. There's this like layer on Hearthstone that most TCGs haven't experienced, specifically because they weren't online, which is the fact that there's a set of cards that will always be legal. So those cards need to be like the best balanced cards ever. Like 4 expansions down the road, when some random like cards come out, these cards can't have synergy with those cards that break the game. So by balancing these now, kind of like ahead of time, because I'm sure there are at least 3 expansions ahead of us as far as the development is concerned. By balancing these cards now, they kind of lessen the impact of that down the road. Like maybe the Ancient of Lore, which has been changed for draw 2 cards or restore 5 health to draw 1 card or restore 5 health. Maybe that change is put in place so that it doesn't clash with a card 2 expansions down the road that they already know about. You know what I mean?
Welcome to patch notes. For every other game, guys, it's the same in Hearthstone, same in the Division, same in the Secret World, same in WildStar, same in every other game.
And honestly, like, you look at these cards that got nerfed, and you're like, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Like,
yeah, one of the big ones that I'm super happy that they did, which is Force of Nature. It's a 6-cost card that summons 3 2/2 treants with charge that die at the end of the turn. Like, there's a lot going on in that card. Now it's changing from a 6-cost down to a 5-cost card, and all it does is summon 3 2/2 treants.
So it's great for a zoo deck.
It got rid of charge.
Deck.
It got rid of charge, and it got rid of them dying at the end of the turn. Because what was happening is people would play that card, and then there was another card that they could play on top of that where if this card dies, if this card dies, it summons a 2/2 treant. And so people would literally play this card with a combo of that, and it was like, well, I just took a fuck ton of damage, or they'd play this with a buff card that all of your creatures get plus 3 to attack, and now you're getting 15 damage done to your face.
And it's something in other games, like say Magic, where a card like that would have a counter somewhere because you have the ability to interrupt, and you have interrupts like or quick instants that allow you to play. But the counterplay in Hearthstone isn't as fast.
There is no instant or there is no rebuttal cards anymore.
There's no direct counterplay.
My turn, their turn. And so playing cards like this basically is like, well, I've got no choice in this situation.
Although I do hope that somewhere down the road they kind of expand upon traps and make it so that you can actually like interrupt things. Like I have a card in my hand that you don't know is an interrupt, because traps you're like, oh yeah, there's a fucking trap. I should be careful. I can like fucking pull up on my computer a list of all the traps that guy has and figure out how to play around them. But if I have a card in my hand, you don't know if I have a counter spell or Magic the Gathering style. Maybe they're just trying to not make it similar to Magic the Gathering, but I like that mechanic so much.
You still see that fly? I don't. On Cream's computer? Yeah.
What?
Oh, you still got the fly.
I don't see it. It only bothers me if it's in my peripheral for like 4.5 minutes, because that's what it was before.
Probably resting on your bed. Where's your bed, by the way?
Shut up. Keep going.
Another big change that they made to some of the cards, and we're not going to go over all the cards. This will probably be the last card we go over. But Big Game Hunter, which was a 3-cost card that it was a 4/2, 4 damage, 2 health. When you played it, you got to destroy a minion with 7 or greater attack, which was a huge deal. And it was only a 3-cost card. So having that one card in your deck, even if the other team was like a zoo deck and they didn't have any big minions, it was still worth having in your deck just in case. Now they've changed it from a 3-cost card to a 5-cost card, so it means that you're not going to be able to use it as early.
It's not an early game card. It's not an early game or a combo card. It's
exactly. This is an intentional move to try to reflect something.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with these changes. There were some people that were super upset about these changes, but
that's all goes with the argument of is it OP because it's supposed to be? I mean, it's there in the game, so I should take advantage of it. No one's saying like you're wrong for playing the cards. They just realized that the counterplay in these cards was so low, and there wasn't much value other than its intended 1 or 2 scenarios. So they figured make it more viable, or in some cases maybe less viable because of that now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, Krug, why don't you take the next piece because you found it and
sure. Yeah. So this is kind of a serious piece of news that when I very first saw it, I was like, oh no, something happened. And then I thought about it for half a second, and now I find it hilarious. So the headline is 8 arrested in StarCraft 2 match fixing scandal, which is like, whoa, what? Hold up. These are video games, was my first thought. Like, people should not be getting arrested over this. But then you realize that, money's involved. So 8 people have been arrested following an investigation into match fixing in a StarCraft 2 pro tournament, which you can read in our show notes. We're going to have a link to the translation of like the notes for the investigation and kind of like the order that things went down. It's translated from Korean, I think. So it's not necessarily like the most easy to read thing in the world because it's kind of broken English sounding, but it gets the point across really well. A high level overview of the thing would be there's one top class StarCraft 2 programmer who's been charged with roughly $62,000 like against him for manipulating 2 matches in a tournament that he was participating in, which was basically throwing the game so that other people, which they've charged 4 brokers and let's see, 2 financial backers. So the brokers are the people that place the bets, and the financial backers are the people that provide the money. With basically taking that thrown game and betting on it in order to make more money. So it's super like if you've watched a cheesy boxing movie where like the boxer tells like the mafia, "Oh, I'm gonna throw this game for you guys." Right? Yeah, take a knife, right? And the mafia's like, "Oh, okay," but then at the end he like finds his good spirit and like doesn't throw the game and wins. But then the mafia
and then he's shot in the back of the head and instead becomes a vigilante.
Yeah, I was gonna say super spoilers. Daredevil.
I was gonna work my way into that, but thank you for doing it for me. That's basically what this situation is. Super old like noir boxing movie, except for with StarCraft instead of boxing. Yeah, there's a lot of information here, and it's fucking hilarious. And I'm like, it's hilarious, and it's only hilarious because they got caught, and that's what makes me super happy is that they got caught. That these people that are fucking with the thing that I love so much got caught. Well, that makes me happy.
And we were debating whether or not this should be a point of contention for the show beforehand.
Which is
ironic. So we kind of had a question, and that we're not gonna argue about it. We're just kind of discuss this, which is
it real quick.
Yeah, which is do we think that this is possible to like we know it happens in other sports. Is there something that we can do to prevent this from happening in esports as it's still a new industry, or do we just kind of accept it?
I think that like. At least until these people get paid what a like sports person gets paid like fucking millions of dollars, I think it's gonna happen because I don't think they get paid very much.
At that level as well.
Yeah, I mean in sports when people are getting paid that millions of dollars, they'll fucking do it then too.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be. I think
because
it has
what's
the potential.
Better than $1 million?
2 million.
2.
I think 8 million. I think it has more potential in esports to run rampant because like let's look at like the salary for an esports player that didn't like win the grand prize for whatever game they're participating in. It's not that much. Like they make a living wage. I think they make a salary, but it's not like $1 million. It's not $100,000. It's a meager amount, at least in the U.S. for the teams that I'm aware of.
So, from my understanding, again, this is my understanding. If you gain a sponsorship for a team, your living expenses are paid for 100%. So your food, your apartment, or your house is paid for, and then on top of that, you are required to play your specific game at least 8 hours a day, or 40 hours a week. And any money that you make from tournaments is 100% yours, but you're required to wear their gear, wear whatever. So it's not like they're taking a cut out of that. You're just basically going and playing. So the more tournaments that you get involved with, the more money you as a player can get.
Right.
And it's the same thing with any sports, any chain of training. Like case in point, I'm going to bore you guys just a little bit because you guys don't really give 2 flying fucks about this.
I don't even give 1.
But UFC 197 was last night.
Oh God!
If you listen, I do like UFC I do like the UFC in fighting. And for those of you that don't, you guys pay attention anyway. So one of the fighters
is
really
Demetrius
Mighty Mouse Johnson, who, if you have a keen ear lately, has an established Twitch following. He actually is going to TwitchCon as one of their featured streamers, and it was hilarious because it's what you said. Like he goes and he trains for 4 or 5, however many hours of training session when he's not at home, goes home when he's not having to be a father and a husband, and just he just plays Twitch to the point where when they were doing like the interviews for that, I could see the signature Twitch purple sweatshirt.
They
always switch to the logo because of the UFC.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they do. It's not much different from what Mighty Mouse is doing and from what other esports players are doing.
Yeah.
And it's the sad truth is as we want to become more legitimate and recognized as a challenge, as a sport, as a hobby,
Krute's literally filing his nails right now.
Oh, I know. It can't be avoided because it'll always be in the shadows. It's always clandestine. But it's something to be at least aware of and that people can work towards to prevent Also, speaking of UFC, holy fuck, that was an awesome fight for Mighty
Oh
Mouse.
my god, nobody cares.
And John
Anyways,
Jones is a bitch. So that's all I'm saying.
I don't think that the esports scene in the United States is as hot as it is in other countries. I don't think that we have a huge betting scene on our esports. I'm sure it exists, but I don't think it's.
No, yeah, it's.
I
Growing.
don't think it's a $1 million or $1 billion industry. I think
I mean,
it's,
there are sites that you can
small.
bet on league tournaments.
Yeah.
Credits.
I'm sure those
and even
things.
Vegas actually had odds for the NALCS
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
Worlds last year. I believe
But
it was true.
I think as it develops, because I think that scene is going to develop into much larger than it currently is. I think if the salaries for those people don't kind of follow suit, I think it's going to be a much bigger problem than it is in other kinds of sports, I guess is what I'm going to say. Although I don't think it's going to go away entirely ever. Like, people are always going to do that shit just to guarantee themselves some money. What if, I have a question. What if two competing, like, evil people approach two teams that are going to be facing each other and ask them both to throw the game?
Is this like Secret Wars with
Like,
gaming?
What would happen if two teams were simultaneously trying to throw a game?
We'd have a game.
If I'm ever a billionaire, I'm going to do that.
It's like
gonna-
watching South Park's baseball thing or dodgeball episode.
If I'm ever a billionaire, I'm going to pay two teams to throw the same game. It's going to be great. Can we stop talking about this now?
What?
I'm sorry. You're right. That was silly of me. When I'm a billionaire,
There you go.
I'm going
Let's get the
to
wording right.
blah blah blah.
All right, so I'm moving on because I'm done talking about fighting.
I'm okay with that.
So,
John Bone Jones, a bitch.
So I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Rust has added female characters in their game. But this is the thing: they didn't just add the option of female characters; they've actually linked, your Steam account to specific races and specific genders. And you guys would not believe what happened.
I'm gonna punch you. I can literally punch you. Right
Indigo's
like my hand can just go smack right across your.
Indigo's making a social media joke about the thing because when you go on Facebook and it's like number 6 will surprise you. Like no,
and
go
you're
fuck
like,
yourself.
go fuck
It
yourself.
was
Number
number
6 isn't
going
gonna
to
surprise
level of weird outrage too.
Yeah. Okay. So this happened, and when they first announced this happening, a bunch of people were super pissed about it because they weren't the sex or race that they wanted to be, or that they weren't. Like, I'm a man and I'm playing the game, and now I'm a woman.
Just like John Jones is whining.
I don't. Again, we've already talked about this a bunch, and it super doesn't bother me whatsoever. But people were bitching about it. But not only were people bitching about it, the opposite reaction happened to what they thought was going to happen. Which once people were bitching and complaining about it, they're like, "Oh, this game, less people are going to want to play."
Not the case.
No, yeah, not the case at all. In fact, they had an increase in logins due to this.
77% increase.
Yeah, and I think one of the main reasons why it had an increase in logins is because people were bitching about it, which means free press. And then the second piece was that it actually increased in sales as well. So not only are we seeing...
Doc, the player count went up by 100%.
Oh,
the sales went up by 74%.
There we go.
Which is like...
It's crazy. I mean, Rust isn't super expensive either. It's like, what, 20 bucks?
I don't remember. I've had it in my library for a very long time.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I've
had it in there for a while now. So Krug and I both own the game. And before the show, we actually logged on to see if we were women, if we were men, what color we were.
Were you manly men in tight tights?
Yeah, and I am proud to say that I am a proud black man.
And I'm a white man, which is, I wish we could trade.
Oh my god, I don't want to contribute to this discussion. I feel like there's a part of the internet just going like, what? Sharpen the pick, fox.
Yeah. So I don't have an issue with this. Was there any more like really fun? One of the big things is they were saying, the reason what's the guy's name? Gary Newman. He came out and said, hey, the reason why we did this was it was a social experiment. We wanted to see if people that were playing women would die less because people viewed them as the weaker sex, so they wouldn't attack them more often.
We even debated this point amongst the three of us because we were just trying to figure out if this was an intentional thing or if this is something they said because of the backlash and the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah, and that could go either way. I'm skeptical, so I'm always the one that's gonna say they're probably just doing this to cover their ass versus they were smart. But I could always be wrong. But that's not really the point we're arguing.
Well, really, the point we're curious about, and I'm curious about you two specifically. I know everyone's going to have their own opinion on this, but here's a question for you guys. Does forced race gender locking affect your gameplay enjoyment?
Mm-hmm.
So, Indigo, how about you?
My flat out, just easy answer, no.
There you go. Krug, I'm assuming.
My flat out easy answer is yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
gentlemen, this is, and ladies and gentlemen, if you have not listened to Quora before, this is how it goes. We find a question that's worth debating over. We have our two sides. We see what they want us, what their side is, and from that point on, I let the reins go and go, gentlemen, have at it, and we'll see who makes the most compelling argument for the coin.
Okay, so first off, let's just get it out of the way. Rust isn't everyone's gameplay style. Survival games is not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about gameplay, we're not talking about Rust specifically, or
exactly. We're not talking about the mechanics. We're not talking about like whether or not surviving in a wilderness with other people trying to kill you is fun.
Yeah.
We're talking about whether or not the race or the gender being assigned to you automatically in an irrevocable way affects your gameplay negatively or positively or not at all.
Correct. Yeah. And so that, I think, is important to get out of the way before we really start arguing and proving that Krug is horrendously wrong.
This is why Indigo shouldn't introduce topics ever. He's a horribly manipulative dumbass.
This is how the argument works,
I'm being totally impartial. I want to see what your arguments are for if it increases your gameplay enjoyment or not. He's saying you're wrong, so now you gotta prove to me that he is wrong, and it actually does affect your gameplay.
Yeah, because
enjoyment.
I mean, at the end of the day, in Rust or in games like this, where you're gender locked, you're seeing your hands. That's the only thing you're ever seeing. So how does that affect your game? How does that really honestly affect how you're able to enjoy the game?
What do you look at when you press tab in Rust?
The inventory? I don't know what
what's the thing to the left of the actual like inventory screen? What can you see over there to the left?
It's my character. So
it's your character. So you do see your character. You do understand.
What I'm saying is the gameplay, the majority of the time, which you're only seeing your hands.
Right.
Yes, there is a momentary lapse in which you hit the tab button to put clothes and cover your naked body up.
Right.
But
so as you equip things in Rust, you do get them physically represented on your character. And when you do that, in the process of changing from this chest piece to this other chest piece, you see what your character looks like. When you're walking around, just because you're not actively looking at your character doesn't mean you don't know what he looks like. You know every time you equip something how that affects the way your character looks because you see it in the inventory. So the fact that you don't see it when you're running around doesn't mean anything.
It's all about stats. It has nothing to do with what you
Are you joking? This game is the least all about stats game ever. This game is about convincing people that you're not going to kill them or convincing people that they shouldn't kill you.
Yeah,
this game is about talking to other people. This game is about representing yourself to other people. And the fact that you can't decide how you're going to represent yourself to other people nerfs you, potentially.
Hold on. How you represent yourself has nothing to do with what that character is looking like.
Maybe to some people it doesn't, but to some people it might.
Like, especially since it's gender locked. Like, if it were gender choice and someone came up to you as a female and was like, "Hey, I'm totally not here to shoot you," it would be a completely different story. Because then you're like, all right. But now that it's gender locked, all right, what you look like or what race you are has literally nothing to do with it because you didn't have a choice of what you had. So since you don't have that choice, it wipes that part of the game completely out of it. And so now literally it's you being able to convince someone else that you're not going to kill them and then turn around and kill them when they least suspect it.
So you know what some people have done in Rust, some videos I've seen on YouTube, they are a male in and of themselves, and they have their girlfriend come and use the microphone and communicate with other people because they think that that's going to get them killed less. That's a thing that happens in Rust. So the fact that the gender is being like forced to be X or Y randomly is helping people avoid that specific situation. It's helping them become...
I've also turned around and seen situations where someone will come up and attack someone. They'll run into their house, and then they'll strip naked, and then stand out there and be like, "Oh yeah, hey, that dude ran away. Can you guys let me in? I'm afraid he's gonna shoot me." And then they let them in, and then he turns around and pulls a gun out and kills them all. Like,
you have guns in Rust?
Yeah. All the more reason that these things should be locked, right? So that if I look like a specific person and you can see my face, then you know, oh, if that person comes back, whether or not they're naked, kill them. Like that you need something by which to identify.
Yeah,
people.
but what I'm saying is that adds to the gameplay. That benefits it. It doesn't hinder it in any sense. Now you can't physically lie because it's like, oh, well, this pixel said that this pixel isn't the same pixel. Like, because the fact that they all looked the same, it wasn't helpful. Now that you're actually have this level of individuality, you can't fake that stuff. Because you can't fake that stuff, that makes the game more entertaining in the sense that you actually have to convince people versus just unequipping something, and now you look like a completely different person.
Okay, gentlemen, I want final arguments.
Okay.
Indigo?
Oh, sorry.
Just round it up.
It absolutely doesn't affect the game as a player because when you're actually playing, you're only seeing a part of you, and it doesn't affect you when other people, when you see other people, because you don't know them in real life.
Okay, Crew.
I'm pretty sure Indigo just finished explaining how the gender locks affect gameplay. He literally just finished arguing my point for me. So
okay,
that's the end of my argument.
His end of his argument is that I'm right. Got it.
Nope, he was literally arguing my point for me.
Okay. It
was great.
So after listening to both of them, there was one point that stuck out for me, and I'm not going to explain what it is because I want the audience to also make up their minds. But my coin actually goes to Krug for this. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the podcast. You can always voice it on Twitch and Twitter afterwards. If you're listening live, there's going to be a link coming out momentarily to actually vote. And there's second row of coins below each portrait will tell you who gets the audience participation point or coin. If you believe Krug is right and it does actually affect gameplay, vote for him. If you believe that it doesn't actually affect gameplay or your own enjoyment of gameplay, vote for Indigo. And so while you guys are doing that and voting, we're going to continue on with the game.
Oh God! Please, can you talk about this next one? Because I think I might fall asleep.
It's tangentially tied.
No, this
to
is
gaming.
not tangentially tied to gaming. This is really interesting. I'll talk about it because I'm the one who brought it up, and I think it's really interesting. So Google Fiber is a thing that everybody wants. Google Fiber is like the fastest, most amazing internet, and it's Google. Everybody likes Google. Google's great. Any product that Google sells me that I'm already using, I will stop whatever I'm already using and go use Google's. So
putting up the vote poll.
Huh? Yes, I'm putting out the vote poll, but since neither of you want to talk about this, I have to do this too, you fucking dickholes. So it used to be a thing that in Kansas City, the first city that Google Fiber released in, you were allowed to get 5 megabit by 1 megabit internet speeds without paying a monthly fee. You just had to pay them $300 up front, and they would go out and install some stuff in your house. Or you could pay $25 for 12 months and then not have to pay anything else. And you'd get that internet speed for free. And that's how that worked. Apparently that's not a thing anymore. They have rescinded that offer. It's no longer available on their website, although you can still, if you live in those areas, sign up for it until May 19th. And apparently they're doing that so they can focus on providing free internet for lower income communities. And I think that's really awesome. And it's not just 5 by 1 internet for lower income communities. It's gigabit internet for lower income.
What is 5 by 1? What does 5 by 1 mean?
I don't know what 5 by 1 is, but I know what gigabit is.
Oh, okay.
5 by 1 is 5 megabits down, 1 megabit up speeds.
Oh,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's not horrible. That's usable. You could do stuff with that. You could stream
my actual
with it,
gaming rate.
Yeah, but you won't. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about your internet. Your internet
My
depresses
internet
me.
sucks ass, but I also don't live in Kansas, so
Yeah.
So if you live in Kansas City, you can take advantage of that offer until May 19th. They still offer that 5 megabit by 1 megabit plan in Austin, Texas, and Provo, Utah. So if you live in those places, you can still take advantage of the apparently limited time offer. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. No, Indigo is not okay. He hates.
He's waiting for you to put the link up for the vote.
I mean, chat's begging for it.
He hates it when we talk about stuff. I'm gonna put it up. Jesus Christ! Fucking read the notes and have the ability to talk about the thing next time.
His strong suit.
No, it's not. He can't Control C and then Control V.
That's actually not how that
like
works.
you were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Super not how that works at all.
So now that we're done talking about super boring stuff.
Oh my god, I hate this cast
let's get back
so
to the
much.
fighting.
You want to go back to the fighting? All right, we're just going to skip all the news and go right to fighting. No. So the next piece of news, I think this is really awesome. It was kind of fun. It was kind of cute. This is kind of like someone turned around and took Zelda, and we talked about this a little while
Like
ago.
Mario and everything else.
So someone took Zelda and made it in 3D. Well, someone actually took Ocarina of Time and put it in the Unreal Engine 4.
Okay, am I the only one that doesn't understand the point of doing these recreations in Unreal Engine 4?
Yes. Why would you not? That's so. It's
I
so
don't
great.
understand this.
As in it's stupid and it's not cool, or
No,
as
I
in
don't
like
think
you don't understand why someone would spend the time doing it.
That the second one. It's not. I don't think it's stupid. I think when I actually see the product, it's cool, it's pretty. What is the point of this? Is it just to show off Unreal Engine 4?
I would
Is
say
it to secretly tell?
I would say
like,
it's
Nintendo,
the
hey,
1 million.
Nintendo, hey, Nintendo, hey, Nintendo.
Stop.
I would say it's because of the 1,820,958 views.
Yeah, and why did they want to see that? Like, is it just a subtle advertisement for them to go, hey, Nintendo?
No,
hey, Nintendo.
I think they did it because they knew it would be popular. People would watch it because it is cool. I watched it. I liked it. But I think the reason they did it is because they wanted attention. I don't think that they're trying to push them to put Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine 4 because that hasn't been how the Zelda franchise has worked, or Nintendo as a whole.
I was gonna say, the last time they tried doing two more realistic versions of Zelda, they were both Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
and people didn't seem to like those as much as, say, Wind Waker.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're honestly pushing them to do it. I think that they're just like, hey, this is really cool. Like, enjoy us, like us, do our thing.
I just find the recreations of like 8-bit and 64-bit games such an odd choice for recreation, but at the same time, I'm also not much of a creator. But speaking of 8-bit, we also have to show off this really awesome. It's like a world record run, right?
Yeah, it is. It is the current record now.
Okay, so heads up, guys, if you've never heard of speedrunning, we've talked about it a few times on Quarter Up and all our other shows. Speedrunning is the art of going through a game at the fastest speed possible, whether that's through normal uses or through tricks in the game or through exploits that the game code has. And someone had just set up a new Super Mario, the original Super Mario, speed run of 4 minutes?
It was 4 minutes and 1 second.
4 minutes, 57 seconds, and 26th of a second, I guess.
Yeah, and speedrunning seconds are like miles.
Yep.
Like when people say, "Oh, this is a trick that takes off 2 seconds off time," people are like, "Oh my god, it's 2 seconds!"
If you click the link, it'll take you to the part of the video where he realizes that he just set the new world record, and he goes bananas. Like, he's so happy.
Do they make money off that?
No.
Or is it just a pride?
No,
I don't think so. I think they just get the bragging rights. But my favorite part of this, I've watched some speedruns before, and I've never seen this before, and I thought this was really interesting. He has a heart rate monitor on his little time tracker.
Oh, I've seen those.
I've never seen those. It's so cool. So you can tell when he's doing something that he thinks is really difficult, because he'll be doing it and his heart rate will be going up, 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 and then he'll finish and his heart rate will go down, 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 down. And then you'll get to something else like, I wonder if he thinks this is hard, and then his heart rate will go up, 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 and you're like, yep, he does, and then down, 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 down. It's the funniest thing ever. And at the very end, his heart rate goes insane. He doesn't go below 100 the whole time. So he's probably gonna die sooner, specifically because he did this speed run.
His heart will explode.
His heart is going to explode. But yeah, it's really cool. Congratulations to Darbian. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but yeah, that was quite an accomplishment. This is a really commonly run game, so it's like setting a record for this is a big deal.
Yeah.
What was the gap between his time and the previous world record time?
I couldn't find the previous world record time. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll look a little bit more, and we'll put it in the show notes when we release the show on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, if you are hearing this on Tuesday, you weren't hearing it on Sunday, and if you hear it on Sunday, it is PAX weekend. PAX East is happening in Boston. Actually, I believe that one of our contributors is over there this weekend. She's kind of just messing around with her husband and friends.
Yeah.
And having a good old time. So I don't think we're getting any real coverage out of it, which is not a big deal because everyone's covering it, and we're covering it here. But on top of everything happening, Twitch decided to give out some swag, right?
Yeah, some really, really useful swag. So if you've never been to a convention before, especially a convention about comics or video games,
I know any convention that lasts more than a day.
Or sure, any convention that lasts more than a day. There's a unique, very distinct smell that kind of evolves over time on the convention floor, and that smells body odor. It smells funky in those
Before
places.
we continue,
yes.
it's a much different experience when you are selling and showing up as a guest. The smell tends to stay around when you are an exhibitor at a convention center, and from a exhibitor / seller and an artist to everyone else that goes to these convention centers, wash your nads.
Well,
For the love of Christ, wash everything on. It's not hard. It's like a military shower is like 2 minutes. You're not gonna miss a panel. You're not gonna miss the show floor. Wash yourself.
Or just
To be
wake up.
fair, it's been happening less and less lately in the last few years, but it's still there.
I haven't noticed that. So what Twitch decided to do, since their partner meet and greet zone at this year's PAX is sponsored by Old Spice, is they decided to hand out deodorant and shampoo to everybody.
And to Old Spice's credit, that is genius.
Yeah, and apparently they have enough to cover everybody all 3 days. Like they have
Guess
a
what smell it was?
fuck ton of deodorant and shampoo.
No,
So- If you're right now listening from PAX, put on some deodorant and make everybody
Like
around you
business.
happy.
it is such a tiny. It's no, I can't read that. It's
Oh, it's the good blue one.
it's the good blue one. Yeah,
It's not like Axe body spray. Axe body spray is some nasty shit.
Oh, I think the scent was something sport, like, which is super ironic because it's a video game like convention.
Hey, some people.
Hey, you're
some
walking
people
around there.
perspirate quite
you're
a bit. Why are
perspirating
you
a lot while you're.
why are
No,
you
no, no.
insulting them?
Just the name is ironic.
Oh,
The,
gotcha.
the sport thing.
What if they're all? Wait, it's like what if they have
Blue
an
Blast
e-sport?
eSport.
Yeah, what if they have an e-sport?
Oh my god. Old Spice marketing, take that one for free.
When I
Just spread this.
used to do shows, like do live shows, Monster had Monster Energy water to give to artists, so it
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
like the artists were drinking Monster Energy drinks on stage, but it said water, and you couldn't see it if you were like in the
That
audience.
happens a ton in sports.
Yeah,
Like
I never knew
motocross
that
Or
shit.
UFC or football.
It's like
It's
the
they'll
greatest
have like the
marketing
Coke
ever.
bottle,
Yeah.
but it's actually water inside it.
Yep. It's pretty gold.
All about branding, buddy.
Yup.
All about branding.
All about branding.
So speaking of Twitch, at PAX, Twitch actually had a panel, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
So they are talking about adding some new features.
they have
to
a
the
booth.
Twitch
They have a
curriculum.
booth.
Oh, the booth.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I'm not sure. I'm sure they do, but this article is more about what they're showing off at the booth.
Which is
Is the fact that they're starting to do a beta as of yesterday for people to have friends lists. And
so you're not seeing it now if you're on Twitch at the moment, unless you're in the beta.
correct. So what it's going to be is it's going to be a list of up to 500 people that will be on your friends list that will allow you to see if they're online or offline at the moment, as well as being able to personally message them, and kind of stuff like that. And it's not too in depth. It's not like
So it's another iteration of the current systems in place, like the email alerts for people going live, for in-chat messaging for other players, but they're expanding upon it and they're doing something new beyond it. Like we've also seen recently, they have posts, like they have posts for channels now.
yes.
For alerts on different stuff
Mhm.
like that. So honestly, this brings us to our second question, and after I say the question, we'll see who won the previous one. So the question simply, gentlemen, is this. We're seeing Twitch expand and add these social features. We saw the creative channel show up. I mean, we're resting in the gaming talk show section. We're seeing the friends list show up. We're seeing all these posts show up. And is this a natural evolution of Twitch? Like, seemingly like, it just makes sense we go this direction? Or is the cynic in you taking over and you kind of see it as more of like a business move to keep retention among viewers and among visitors? And so they don't end up just going to Facebook and showing the link or watching the stream there or going to YouTube Gaming. They're just going to be stuck in Twitch. So, Krug, since we went to Indigo last time, we're going to go to you.
Before we do that,
Yeah.
why don't we take a quick look at the quarter-up question for the last one, where actually, when I looked at this before, I was winning by like 5%. But now that I look at it again, Indigo won by
There you go.
6%. So
So that was for
congratulations, buddy.
does race and sex locking actually change your enjoyment of a game? In that case, all the audience thinks it really doesn't. Really doesn't care.
Boom.
Wait, I just jumped into the lead again.
Hey,
I understand. You get the coin. I just want to point out that I jumped into the lead again. No, boo boo.
For now.
For now,
Until I jump.
Until the end
Are
of
we going to
time.
continue to update this?
For now.
It's up. No, we're not going to just like, and this just in. Hero has reached the lead.
Anyway, the actual question at hand, Krug, is such. Go back to the tab, please.
Oh, yeah, for
Just
sure.
to
Because I haven't been scrolling on that one. I've
No.
only been scrolling on the notes
Yeah.
on this side. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
gentlemen
Good job.
and listeners, question is: are these social features that Twitch is implementing a natural evolution of Twitch, or a more business strategy to retain viewers and followers and fans? So, Krug?
It's a natural evolution. Like, Twitch is a place where people can connect with the streamer. There's no reason why people shouldn't be able to connect with each other while they're connecting with the streamer. And besides all that, if you're in the same stream as somebody else and you both love that stream, chances are you have similar taste. So why not give people an opportunity to kind of connect on a more one-on-one basis?
Okay. And Indigo?
I think this is completely business strategy. I don't think it's a direct evolution of Twitch streaming. I think it is more of a sense to grab additional people that weren't necessarily going to be staying here, or people that were going other places.
All right. Well, now that we hear what side it is, gentlemen, I want to hear you guys fight for the coin.
Okay, for the porn.
For the coin. I didn't say porn.
We don't need to
I
fight
think I
for
need
that.
coffee.
I don't need
Yeah,
to
we
fight
could
for
just. I mean, it's online. You can just watch it at the same time.
Gentlemen,
Anyways,
really now, continue your fight for the coin.
So, in all honesty, it's 100% a business strategy. And evolution would be continually improving the actual. Oh yeah,
I don't
would
want to
be-
know.
would be to actually improve video output, increase the level of streaming, adding features for streamers themselves to make it more of an entertaining basis or higher quality, reducing load times, increasing speed quality. That right there is an evolution of what Twitch is doing. This is a business strategy to retain people that are going to Facebook and being social on Facebook, and trying to take people from going and posting shit on Facebook to coming over here and having a game centric. It's it's a business strategy.
So why do you draw the line there? Why does this specific thing become business strategy, like, exclusively? Why isn't this a natural evolution? Why is a natural evolution only modifying the things that already exist in the game?
Because, like, so what I'm saying is,
Like, are you saying you can't naturally evolve into something new? You can't, like, release new features, and that's not a natural evolution of your
So,
product?
if I have a keyboard, right,
uh-huh.
and the next rendition of that keyboard now has a number pad, that's an evolution, right?
Okay.
If I have a keyboard and then it comes out with a wheels and can move around, that's not an evolution. That's something completely different.
Side note, I'd love to see that product developed.
That's horrible.
Whether
Yeah,
it's
you're like, I'm gonna type this.
It's just everywhere.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say is that yes.
So
it's
if I
social
can
in the sense that it's social
uh-huh.
in that specific video, and that you're there, you're watching that TV with commentary.
So if I can boil down your point, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, please do.
Sure.
It's that this feature doesn't modify the core, like, doesn't help the core functionality of Twitch. You don't think that adding a friends list helps the core functionality of Twitch?
Correct.
So I super disagree with that, because the core functionality of Twitch, in my opinion, isn't to just watch people play games. Most streamers, and me when I stream, it's really like maybe 30% about the game and 70% about interacting with the people that are watching you play. It's really not about, unless, very specific streamers that are very, very good at the games they play.
You're separating.
I let you
yourself
finish.
from
Let me finish the thing.
I'll let you finish.
I'll let you.
Hey,
I'm gonna
I'll
let
let
you
you guys
finish.
vote. Go.
Can I finish?
Beyonce
Hey,
had the
you guys
best
vote,
live
go.
stream.
I'm not doing questions.
No,
each
no, no.
person.
He's yelling at me. Go. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So
Just hurry it the fuck up.
So now you made me lose what I was going to say. See, this is why you don't be a huge dick.
Core functionality.
Right. So this does help the core functionality of Twitch, because the whole point of Twitch is to socialize. And if there's
With the streamer.
Listen, if there's so many people that find the same streamer entertaining, that find the same personality entertaining, chances are that those people are going to find each other entertaining, and it's just natural to allow those people to connect with each other. Why would you make a barrier to entry to people communicating?
This is not stopping those people from communicating with each other. This is completely.
No, it's making it easier. I didn't say that they're stopping it
right
currently.
now, when I stream, people are communicating with myself about either myself and the game that I'm playing, or they're talking amongst themselves about the game or myself. Right? Is that correct?
Not at all.
So you're on stream, you're watching someone stream a game, and you're fucking talking about political science and how the tree formation.
That has
No, that's
happened
not
before.
the point of Twitch.
That's not.
That's-
But it happens. That's
it does
where
happen, but that's not the point of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Is now you're separating that completely.
So
now you're
the
saying, hey, look,
users-
instead of watching people play games or do artwork or do whatever that they're doing, that they're streaming, and instead of making commentary about what they're doing and how they're doing it and enjoying that, we're gonna just completely separate that completely, and you can just have a chat window with yourself. Because if it were it's still about this video, but it's not. That video is separate from this chat, this friend window. This friends window is literally AIM. It's AIM from 1999.
Well, first of all, the chat window is a separate thing. The chat window has been implemented for forever.
It's separating yourself. You don't have to be watching someone on Twitch anymore to be on Twitch and sit there and communicate and talk with each other.
So here's
I can
here's
be
the
on
thing.
the website.
As to what you just said, is separating people from Twitch and it not, supporting Twitch's core fundamental ideas. The users of Twitch do that. The users of Twitch are the ones that have said, we're going to talk about other stuff in chat sometimes. They just have done that. And so
but
Twitch
it's still happening
and so
while they're
Twitch,
watching a video.
And so Twitch has decided that, okay, well, if these people are going to be like communicating with each other instead of communicating with the streamer, why don't we make it easier for them to communicate with each other? It's like literally the most natural thing I can think of.
It removes itself completely from the functionality of what it's supposed to be doing.
Okay, guys. So now that I've heard most of the arguments, let's do a little wrap up real quick. And Kruk, we'll start with you.
So
final thoughts.
Twitch is a product that is a living and breathing thing. It's going to change its fundamental ideas over and over again before it goes away, and this is just one of those changes.
Yeah. And Indigo?
This is a means to pull from other markets to be able to keep people on their website so that they can input advertisements in, so that they can keep people viewing their website versus actually watching video or watching someone stream.
All right. Well, I've got a personal opinion on it, but this is not what we're here for. It's based on solely arguments, at least the arguments that I heard, but why I listened to both those as much as I could. And I honestly thought that the winner of this one, in my opinion, was Indigo. Woo!
Boom!
And if you agree with that, we're going to put a link up in a little bit. Go ahead and vote on that. Tell us on Twitter or on Facebook or anywhere else you find us if you believe that, hey, I'm wrong and that it actually is a more natural evolution of Twitch. Or no, I'm just a cynical asshole. Just let us know.
That being said, I have to step out of this room because I'm technically on call and I got a text message.
Oh.
So I will be back.
And they know you're here.
And absolutely. Really? No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
That was a complete joke.
And now you're fired.
You guys You guys finish off. I'll be back. Hopefully back before the show. If not, bye guys.
Yeah, 5 minutes left.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, so here's the thing. As we end up the show, we only have one more question. That's a pretty fun question. Nothing too crazy. But we wanted to show this off because it's fucking bonkers. And I can't tell, was this incidental or just completely on purpose?
It looks on purpose. This is a really specific outfit. Like, I don't understand how this could be something that was done on accident.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, if you follow Street Fighter V or even other Street Fighter games, not part of the appeal of fighting games that you had different outfits. Kind of like Overwatch, kind of like League of Legends. Everyone has different skins and costumes. Chun-Li has one where she has this dress, and she's had it for a long, long time, and at least in 4, I believe, and now in 5. And this was just super odd. Do we know who the person is?
I don't.
Damn it! I had.
I don't recognize this person at all.
But we are going to put the link up, and it's probably the most crazy bit of accidental cosplay that we've ever seen. In fact, I believe she's a model. I believe so. But I can't remember her name. I do apologize for that. We just want to show off this kind of like just crazy, like, what moment. It's much different than going to, say, like PAX and looking at cosplay or not. But I just want to show that off before we go into our final fun question. And our chat, one of the people in chat says, hey, y'all need to justify yourselves a little on that. We tried justifying ourselves. We found out it was kind of making time run on a little longer than normal. We kind of were up against the wall for time, and we kind of still are. And we also wanted to not put that seed into our listeners' heads. We want you to listen to the facts of the arguments now and go, well, the moderator's wrong in this case because, so-and-so had this much more explanation, or this point from so-and-so just crushed the other person. And I'd love to hear...
What Doc's trying to say is that I'm an infinitely better debater than everybody else in this room.
Anyway, So the final fun question for the day is, and we're just going to talk about it amongst ourselves, and please feel free to tweet us on this, is what is the most frustrating game that you've played? What is the game that made you so mad that you straight up had probably rage quit? And maybe not, what was it like for you, Krug?
So the question in my little notes say, what is the first game that got me mad?
Yeah, what's the first game that got you frustrated?
I was thinking.
What's the first game that made you rage quit?
I was thinking back to like the good old days of me playing games, trying to remember what games made me rage quit. It's probably StarCraft was the first game to actually make me rage quit because I'm really bad at RTS. And I remembered then that I just recently started playing Dark Souls 2, and that's what real rage feels like. That is disgusting. That makes me want to stop playing video games as a whole, as opposed to just not playing the one specific game that I'm currently like having problems with. Dark Souls eats my willingness to be a nerd. I want to go become an accountant now and just stare at numbers all day long because numbers aren't mean to you. Numbers are predictable. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, even though it wasn't the first game, my answer still has to be Dark Souls because of the quality of anger that it provided me. In unmatched quality of anger. Oh,
I'm going to have to go with EverQuest. It wasn't like the world itself that got me angry. It was the open PvP. And it wasn't until I finally rolled the rogue that I understood why people were making me feel like I want to rage quit. Because I had been hunted, like straight up hunted across a continent by a player for a full day. To the point where it's like everyone hears it in WildStar or World of Warcraft or Black Desert Online, like, oh my god, I just can't. It's a lot different when you're 11 years old and you're sitting there, you're just trying to complete a quest, and all of a sudden you just like backstab for X amount of damage, you are dead, and you have experience loss and items lost, and you're just like,
yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. I can see that being a huge downer for people.
And it wasn't the one time, because death XP accumulates. Lost XP accumulates. And when you're dead like 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and you're literally running away from this person, it was like I wanted to punch a hole in every wall I could find. And I am not a violent person, but I was like, it was the most frustrating experience. But Indigo obviously is taking care of his whole thing, and we've pretty much run up against an hour. So people in chat will actually talk to you a little more about that a little bit. But as for everybody all listening to us on podcasts and everything else, we're going to sign off for now for Quarter Up. Indigo's not here anymore. So Krug, where can we find you?
You can find me at KrugQT on Twitter. You can also email me. My email address is krug@QueueTimes.com. If you want to get a hold of all three of us, you can email QU, the letters QU, at QueueTimes.com. And that's about it. If you're listening to the podcast, please like the podcast, leave it a rating, please subscribe, or whatever the fuck buttons you have available to you on your specific podcast player. And if you're watching the YouTube video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Leave a comment with whatever positive, negative things you want to let us know. It really helps us out when people post those comments so that other people can kind of see, and so that we can see and hopefully improve ourselves down the road. Doc, where can people find you?
Best place to ever find me is at Twitter, at AdRockDraws. I'm actually going to change my Twitch handle in a few days because I'm going back to, I'm using the name. I still have a different name. So, boo boo. But I'm going to be live streaming again because I have Free Comic Book Day coming up and I want to have some stuff ready for it. So, follow me on Twitter and if you want to talk back to me or just have a conversation. It's the best way to do it there. And
Indigo is at Indigo something QT. What is it?
I think so.
It's at Indigo QT. Indigo is at Indigo QT on Twitter. You can also email Indigo. His email address is indigo@QueueTimes.com. And that's about it for us today. Thank you very much for stopping by. We love your faces. I'm not Philip DeFranco. I don't know why I keep saying the fucking Philip DeFranco thing at the end of the show. Mwah.
See you guys next time.